The Pixel 4a has finally actually arrived at TechSpert Towers. No, this isn't a joke, it is a very real thing, and because Google couldn't actually have a real-life launch event, what they've done instead is sent me a launch in a box. So let's go check it out. Now, I've got to admit, I never actually thought that this day would come, so I am genuinely proper excited. We've got some random shenanigans, and there it is in all of its glory, the phone that we've all been waiting for quite some time. It does actually exist. And some bonus refreshments as well. I take it this is non-alcoholic. Yep, non-alcoholic celebratory mocktail. Boo. Oh, Christ, I can't actually get the bastard out anyway, so... no, that ain't budging. Yeah, if it was booze, I probably would have shredded the box with my teeth to get to it. But yeah, some sweets and stuff to recreate the launch experience at home. The mini mouthful. How did they find out my college nickname? But enough of that randomness. Let's check out the Google Pixel 4a itself. And you may have noticed on that box there, it's going to cost you 349 quid when it goes on sale, making it cheaper than the Pixel 3a when it first launched last year. You'll be able to pre-order the Pixel 4a from September the 10th, and it will actually go on sale from October the 1st on the Google Store. I can't actually believe I'm finally lifting the lid on the Google Pixel 4a. I'm getting all emotional up in here. So there's the actual smartphone itself. Let's stick that aside, see what else you get in the box. So first I have a quick start guide, which also comes with a Pokey pin device attached to get your SIM inside the bugger. Because you've got your standard 3-pin UK plug, you've got your Type-C to Type-C USB cable, and you've also got a quick switch adapter as well, which is a nice little bundled accessory, just allows you to quickly copy your data from your old smartphone to the new one. And now the main event, the actual Google Pixel 4a in the flesh. Now, I've only just prized the Pixel 4a from its box, and already my heart is filled with an everlasting joy because this thing is just 5.8 inches. It is pleasingly compact. I can't remember the last time I fondled something this small, and I'll leave you to make your own jokes there. We basically already knew what the Pixel 4a would look like from all the leaked renders and everything, but it does look very, very smart in the flesh, and of course, it's all about that pleasing hand feel. As you can see, the two-tone aesthetics of the previous generation have been completely dispensed with, so you've just got this all matte finish here on the back. And just black will be your only colour choice for the Pixel 4a. Certainly at launch, I'm kind of hoping that Google releases some more vibrant models later on, because especially with this dinky form factor, it just lends itself to some nice creative colours. As usual, of course, though, you've got a differently coloured power button just to help it stand out a bit there, housed just above the volume rocker. Up top, it is fantastic to see a proper headphone jack in place as well. And then around back, you've definitely got what is the smallest, dinkiest little camera grille that I've seen in quite some time, because it's literally just a single camera lens and also that LED flash as well. So it makes a difference from the quad lens behemoths you usually get these days. And of course, a very welcome return for that rear-mounted fingerprint sensor as well, which was actually missing from the flagship phone, which was a serious drawback. So a bit of a shame about the lack of a vibrant finish, but what I'm going to do now is get the Pixel 4a all set up and then take you on a tour of the hardware and the software. So here we are, Pixel 4a all ready to rock and roll. And naturally, of course, the software is Android 10, perfectly stock version. And the great thing about buying a Google handset as well is that you're guaranteed at least 3 years of OS and security updates. And that's something you'll get from very few other manufacturers. Nokia are pretty good on that front. And OnePlus, to be fair to them, with the Nord, they just said 2 years of OS updates and 3 years of security updates, which is really great to see. And first up, on the security front, of course, you've got that rear-mounted fingerprint sensor. And as you can see, just a quick tap of your digit to that scanner and you're straight into your desktops, nice and nippy, so that's great to see. But of course you don't have any face recognition because that's not included in stock Android. So if your fingers are a bit grubby, unfortunately you're kind of stuck just kind of entering your pin with your knuckles. And even though it's nice and compact, the Pixel 4a does offer a little bit of one-handed help as well. So for instance, you can drag down that notifications bar from anywhere on the desktops, and you can even use that rear-mounted fingerprint sensor as well. Just swipe your finger down on that and it will drag down the notifications bar as well. It's great to see a lot of the best flagship features coming over from the Pixel 4 to the cheaper Pixel 4a. So for instance, you've got that excellent recorder app which can actually transcribe your audio for you, which is really helpful if you're recording an interview, a meeting, something like that. Dive on into the sound settings, you'll see you've got that live caption feature again as well, which can actually place up text on the screen if you're watching a YouTube video or something that doesn't have subtitles. And rather hilariously, that comes with the hide profanity setting as well. And let me tell you, that expletive filter definitely has to work double time when dealing with any Tarantino films, Goodfellas, stuff like that. In fact, I think this is actually completely broken it. And of course, you got classic Pixel features like the now playing setting, which just basically shows you whatever song is playing in your vicinity there on the lock screen. And the creepy part is it will actually listen in 24 hours a day. So whenever you're walking down the street, you're just passing random shops, they're playing a bit of music or whatever, it'll get identified, it'll pop up here so you can reminisce about your day. But anyway, I'm going to try and get a full tips and tricks guide for the Pixel 4a on the go, so stay tuned for that for an in-depth look at all of those great features. And now let's turn our attention to that gorgeous 5.8-inch OLED screen. Now, I've been checking out some Disney Plus and Netflix and stuff on this thing, and so far I'm definitely in love. It's your typical OLED panel, so nice and bright. I like this is on maximum brightness right now. It is positively eyeball searing. Those really punchy colors really shine through as well. They absolutely leap off the screen and smack you full on in the face. It's a full HD plus resolution, so those images are nice and crisp, even if you get really up close there with your face, no worries whatsoever. And those bezels are pleasingly skinny surrounding the display as well. Of course, you do have the little cut-hole selfie cam notch thingy in the corner there, but it's kind of wedged out of the way, so you barely even notice it, to be perfectly honest. And that's probably just as well, because I can't see any way of actually blocking out that selfie cam from view if you're not really a fan. So definitely a good quality OLED panel, but unfortunately it does max out at 60 Hz as far as the refresh rate goes. There's no 90 Hz option, which pretty much all of its mid-range rivals do offer now, like the OnePlus Nord, the Realme X50 5G actually goes up to 120 Hz, which is bonkers. The Moto G, 5G Plus, etc, etc. Let's have a squint at the audio, and what you get here is actually a stereo speaker setup. So you've got the earpiece here, which can be used for media, and also the downward firing one as well. So let's boost up that volume, see what the quality is like. Now, I've used all four of these devices as my full-time personal smartphone, and I gotta say, I love all four, but which one might be best for you? And yeah, it's not a real massive surprise that the bottom firing speaker here is definitely pulling more than its fair share of the weight here. The top earpiece is technically used for media as well. It does blast out some audio, but it's very tinny, so definitely the bottom speaker is where it's at. And as far as that goes, you know what, the clarity is absolutely fine. That top volume is certainly loud enough to cut through a noisy environment, so it'll definitely do the job. And unfortunately, you don't get any form of equalizer or anything like that here in the audio settings on the Pixel 4a, which is again something that quite a lot of its rivals do offer. Now, for that £350 price point, the Pixel 4a, the specs and the features generally hold up pretty well, but one area where it is lacking compared to some rivals is the performance. What you've got here is the Snapdragon 730 chipset, whereas most of its rivals, like the OnePlus Nord, the Realme X50 5G, they use the 765G. Now, the 730 should provide strong everyday performance. Your app should load up, no problems whatsoever. You shouldn't be hanging around waiting for stuff to happen, especially as you get a pretty generous 6 gigs of RAM packed into this thing. But unfortunately, if you are into your gaming, it's going to be a bit more limited. So we'll of course be fully testing the performance on the Pixel 4a for my in-depth review, but I'm just going to have a quick blast on Call of Duty Mobile now to see how it holds up. So first up, let's go to the audio and graphics, and as you can see, it's set on high and high by default, but let's put it on very high for both and see how it copes. Okay, let's do it. Oh, it's already 21-11. Okay, I'm halfway through the match. At least we're winning. Where is everybody? Oh, there they are. Oh, that was lucky. Okay, he's on my side. Oh, he's not. Finally, I'm starting to see why the Blues are winning, because the Reds are absolutely bloody awful. So yeah, that played absolutely fine. I didn't notice any drop frame rates or anything like that, even on the high detail levels. That's really good to see. And after about 15-20 minutes of Call of Duty action, played 2 full games. It's starting to get a little bit warm, but not too toasty, thankfully. But I will be fully testing out for that in-depth review to see how it handles an intensive gaming session. So touchwood so far, Snapdragon 730's FT seems to be doing the job, I guess helped along by the fact that it's stock Android and everything as well. But of course, the fact that it's a 730 means that you don't get built-in 5G support here, which again is something that a lot of the Pixel 4a's rivals do offer, like the OnePlus Nord, the Realme X50 5G, etc. One of the things I'm most intrigued by, however, is the battery life. Of course, the Pixel 4 flagship was a complete dud in this respect. The Pixel 4a has got a dinky 3140 mAh cell because of the compact size of it, but so far it is draining really slowly, and you've also got this adaptive battery feature on hand. And this can just cull apps in the background, make sure they're not draining your juice too fast. Google reckons you'll get 24 hours of mixed juice from this thing, although it's kind of sounds like light mixed juice, no always on display action, you know, not full on YouTube streaming or gaming, obviously. Frankly, if the Pixel 4a lasts me a full day on a full charge, unlike the Pixel 4 flagship phone, then I'll be a very happy bunny. But again, I'll be testing out for my in-depth review. As for the storage, it's 128 gigabytes of internal space here on the Pixel 4a, and unfortunately that's not expandable via micro SD because you just get a single SIM slot and that's it. And last up, let's flip over the Pixel 4a and check out that 12.2 megapixel camera lens all on its lonesome. Got a bit of OIS built in and dual pixel phase detection autofocus. So first up, as you can see there, it's Google's standard Pixel camera app. So nice and straightforward, very simple to use. You're not inundated with features and toggles and all sorts. You do have a little pull down thing which you can get on the go right here with a timer and the likes of that on the go. But if you don't need it, then just get it out of view, nice and easy. You do of course have a variety of different camera modes that you can swap between. So of course you've got good old portrait mode, which just uses Google's software smart in order to detect your subject and the background, separate the two, and then just adds a bokeh style blurry effect. And as you can see here, this actually saves two images as well, the original standard photo and then the one with the bokeh style effect added. And Google is also very proud of its night sight feature as well, and rightly so, because it does the job nicely. At least it did on the Pixel 4, and I'm sure it will here on the 4a as well. Just captures a variety of different exposure shots, melds them all together. And then what you get is a nice bright bit of background action. So yeah, so it really brightens up those darker elements and just gives you a nice all-round balanced snap. And the Pixel 4a can also detect if you're pointing it up at the sky, and then it flips into astrophotography mode. So as long as you've got some sort of tripod or some way of keeping the phone perfectly still and take a really long exposure shot. And yeah, you can get some shots of some very distant stars and potentially some aliens flipping us off. You can also get a bit of video action on the go, of course, and you've got the option of swapping between the default Full HD and 4K resolution footage as well. But if you leave it at Full HD, you can shoot either at 30 or 60 frames per second. And you've also got a small selection of other bonus modes as well. As you can see, a good old slow motion and time lapse. You've got Google Lens naturally, a bit of photosphere, which I don't know if anyone actually ever bothers using that, and panorama mode as well. Do people still shoot panoramas? If they do, job done. And I'm certainly not missing the macro lens or anything like that here on the Pixel 4a. It would have been nice to have an ultra wide angle lens, because I do quite enjoy some of the dramatic shots you can get with that sort of thing. But anyway, let's swap around to the front facing 8 megapixel selfie cam, and hopefully this will do the job very nicely for your instas and stuff, even though the megapixel count is a lot lower than it is on quite a lot of rival smartphones again. And I swear to Jesus, I'm just incapable of taking a good selfie. This is why I'm not on Instagram, people. This is just ugh. And the good news is, of course, you've once again got those portrait smarts using the slick Google software, and you can even get a bit of night sight action on the go using that front facing camera as well. Hold still, so you can use if you're trying to take those low light selfies in the sexy club. And for your front facing video, it looks like basically it's Full HD, and that's your whack, no 4K option. And there you go. That in a nutshell is the Google Pixel 4a smartphone, as I say, going on full sale for £350 from the Google store. So are you tempted? It'd be definitely great to hear your thoughts down below. I'll be doing comparisons with the likes of the OnePlus Nord as well, and stay tuned, as I say, for my in-depth review to see what I think of the battery life, the actual performance, and everything else. And for more on the latest greatest tech, please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and have yourselves a lovely day, people. Cheers everyone, love you.